Ladies and gentlemen, we're finally at the World Series. We got the Dodgers and the Blue Jays, but I'm just going to say this. I was so close to finally getting a prediction right. I went with the Dodgers and the Mariners, and of course, George Springer just had to ruin all my hopes and dreams. I'll never get a prediction right.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
We got the Dodgers and Blue Jays to talk about. Let's get to it. Let's start off with the lineups, and both lineups have a lot of talent here. Now, with the Dodgers, we all know how good this offense is. Starting off with Shohei Ohtani. The guy's an absolute freak. He's the best player on the planet. I mean, my goodness, did you see what he did against the Brewers in Game 4 of the NLCS? 3 homers, 6 shutout innings. I mean, what the heck are we even talking about, for crying out loud? But Ohtani, yeah, he's pretty good. And after that, it doesn't even come close to stopping. You got Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Will Smith, Max Muncy, Teoscar Hernandez, Tommy Edman can do a thing or two. Kike Hernandez having himself a good postseason as usual. He's always good in the postseason. Andy Pye has had himself a good year. I mean, this lineup is so deep with the Dodgers. But with the Blue Jays, they got a good lineup themselves. Now, George Springer just had the great moment against the Mariners in Game 7, the 3-run home run that eventually sent them to the World Series. A phenomenal year for George Springer. A very good bounce-back year for him. Vlad Jr., the ALCS MVP. He's been hitting great this postseason. You got guys like Alejandro Kirk, Dalton Varsho in the middle of the order that can do some things. Ernie Clement has really stepped up this postseason as well. He's come up in a lot of big spots. Addison Barger has had himself a good year. Now, I will say the Dodgers lineup is deeper here. Now, the Blue Jays, again, they got good bats, but with the Dodgers, I mean, you just got bats all over the place here. But however, where I think the Blue Jays can close the gap a bit is the plate discipline. Now, when it came to swinging strike percentage, the Dodgers were only 17th overall with an 11%, while the Blue Jays had the third lowest swinging strike percentage this year at a 9.4%. They did a great job this year at making a good amount of contact and limiting the whiffs. So I think if the Blue Jays can just focus on getting the bat on the ball, coming up in key situations, I think the Blue Jays, they're going to be able to go toe-to-toe with this Dodgers lineup. Again, very deep here, but the Blue Jays, they can do some things too. But if I were to lean one way here, I would go with the Dodgers lineup. They're just so talented from top to bottom. Again, the Blue Jays, they have a lot of talented bats as well, but the Dodgers, I mean, they're just stacked all the way from 1 through 9. Moving on to the starting pitching, and the Dodgers have been absolutely diabolical this postseason. They got Blake Snell, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Tyler Glasnow, Shohei Ohtani absolutely shutting things down. I mean, take a look at these numbers. Over 10 starts, the Dodgers have an ERA at 1.40, FIP at a 2.00, 11.3 strikeouts per 9, 2.6 walks per 9, 0.3 home runs per 9. I mean, are you kidding me? These numbers are nasty. I mean, take a look at the individual numbers here. Glasnow with a 0.68 ERA, 12 strikeouts per 9. Snell had a phenomenal 8-inning performance this postseason. Yamamoto's looked very good over 3 starts. We just mentioned Ohtani earlier against the Brewers. He looked very good there, both on the mound and at the plate as well. I mean, the starting pitching has been excellent for the Dodgers this postseason. Now, with the Blue Jays, they've been solid here. Kevin Gausman, he's been pitching well. Trey Savage has looked very good in a small sample this year. Did have one rough outing against the Mariners in this series, but hey, he did show a lot of good things against the Yankees in that one start. Shane Bieber, he's shown a couple of good things. Scherzer actually looked pretty good against the Mariners this past series, but when it comes to the rotations here, I mean, the Dodgers, they're just on another level. And another thing with the Blue Jays starting pitching is I actually think they don't match up very well with the Dodgers bats. Again, the Dodgers, they have a ton of offense, but there's certain attributes that I'm not a big fan of. Now, I mentioned earlier with the Blue Jays, they do a great job at putting the bat on the ball. They were first overall when it came to contact percentage this year with an 80.6%. And again, we mentioned earlier when it came to the whiff percentage, they were very low there as well, ranking 3rd lowest overall. However, when it came to the hard hit percentage this year for the Blue Jays, they were 13th overall with a 32.8%. And sure, Vlad and Springer can do a lot of damage, but when it came to the lineup as a whole, they were pretty middle of the road when it came to the hard contact. And another thing I don't like as well is the fact that the Blue Jays, they throw a lot of fastballs here, Kevin Gausman included. Now, when you take a look at Gausman this year, he was at a 53.7% when it came to the fastball usage. And the Dodgers, they ranked second overall when it came to run value against fastballs. So, in other words, they hit fastballs very well. And Gausman throws a lot of splitters as well, but when it came to run value against splitters this year, the Dodgers ranked fourth overall. We know Trey Savage, he has a nasty splitter, but how's that going to do against the Dodgers? And Shane Bieber, when it comes to throwing his slider, he mixes it in a good amount, but the Dodgers this year ranked third overall when it came to run value against sliders. So I don't like the matchup here for the Blue Jays. Again, I like what they have in the rotation, but against this Dodgers lineup, I don't feel very good about it. Now, when it comes to the bullpens, this is where things get a bit interesting. Now, with the Dodgers bullpen, they had a lot of ups and downs this year. It was a roller coaster pretty much all year. Tanner Scott, who they brought in a big money deal last offseason, ended up having a terrible year, had a ton of blown saves, to the point where they didn't even include him on the NLCS roster, for crying out loud. So we'll see if he's going to be on the World Series roster. I think Scott can absolutely still be a shutdown reliever, but at this point, I'm not sure what the Dodgers are thinking. But in the meantime, they've had Roki Sasaki closing out games. Now, for Roki Sasaki, it's been a roller coaster of a ride for him as well. Remember last offseason, he was a high-profile international signing, but he struggled as a starter. He ran into injuries, but then they brought him back towards the end of the year and used him out of the bullpen. He's been excellent there so far, so let's see if he can keep that up going into the World Series. I don't see why not. The guy's nasty, tons of velo, tons of good stuff as well. So Sasaki, he's looking great. Now, outside of Sasaki, they've had some issues. Blake Shrinen's had a couple of tough outings, one against the Phillies and the Brewers as well. Vesia, he's walking a decent amount of batters over the 7 games he's pitched in, but I think with the Dodgers starting pitching, that's really going to take pressure off of this bullpen, and I don't think the Blue Jays are going to be an absolute cakewalk. Again, they have talented bats in that lineup. They're not going to make it easy at all, but I do think the Dodgers are going to have to rely on this bullpen a bit more than they have up to this point, so these guys are going to have to step up. Again, Sasaki, he's looking great right now, and I do like the stuff and the velo he has, but let's see what he does in the World Series here. It looks like he's got a lot more confidence than he did at the beginning of the year. So Dodgers bullpen, they got the arms here. It's just a matter of execution for them. Now, when it comes to the Blue Jays bullpen, the combination of Jeff Hoffman and Louis Varland has looked very good up to this point, and Sir Anthony Dominguez, he was looking good against the Yankees, and then he ran into some trouble against the Mariners in the ALCS, so let's see if he can get that cleaned up. I do like the velo with him. Now, the Blue Jays, they've had some issues with this bullpen, mainly against the Mariners in this ALCS. That was a tough series for them, so let's see how they can do against the Dodgers here. But up to this point, I have liked Jeff Hoffman and Louis Varland, and to me, while it's not a lot better than what the Dodgers have been, I think you got a couple of more arms that are a bit more reliable at this point. And again, that's not a knock on Roki Sasaki. It's more just uncharted territory. Again, I love the stuff in the velo with him. It's just, what are we going to get out of Sasaki? And are Blake Shrinen, Vesia, are they going to get things cleaned up a bit here? I think with the Blue Jays right now, they got a couple more guys that I can fully rely on. Now with the Dodgers, yeah, you can rely on Roki Sasaki. He's been very good. But outside of that, I like the Blue Jays a little bit more, so I'm going to give them a slight edge when it comes to the relief pitching. And when it comes to the managers, I have to give the edge to Dave Roberts. No disrespect to Blue Jays manager John Schneider here. He's done a great job this season, but Roberts has more experience, and after Roberts finally got the monkey off his back last year, along with pushing a lot of the right buttons this postseason, including putting trust in Yamamoto against the Brewers and getting just enough out of Trinan against the Brewers, I gotta go with him here. Overall, both teams have a lot of talent, but when it comes to the Dodgers, I think there's just too much here. When it comes to the lineups, both teams have a lot of good bats, but with the Dodgers top to bottom, I think they're just deeper there, and with the starting pitching, the Dodgers have been excellent this postseason. That starting pitching they have is absolutely nasty, and when it comes to the matchups there, I think the Dodgers match up well against Kevin Gausman, Trey Savage, Shane Bieber, so not just a talent point of view, but a matchup point of view as well. And again, there's a couple of arms that I like in the Blue Jays bullpen better than the Dodgers bullpen right now, but I think with the rotation that the Dodgers have, that's going to take pressure off the bullpen anyway, so I think in the end, the Dodgers are just going to be too good here. I do think this Blue Jays team is going to put up a fight. They've been a feisty team all year. They've been very good at getting the bat on the ball, and they've come up in big moments. I just think the Dodgers in the end, they're going to be too good, and I have them winning this series in 6 games. But everybody, that's my prediction. Let me know your prediction down below in the comments. Who do you think is going to win this series? Why do you think they're going to win this series? Let me know down below in the comments. But everybody, that's all I got for right now. If you come to the way out, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll talk to you next time.